Bonjour à toutes et à tous, bienvenue pour ce nouveau numéro d'une conférence call avec la TNA. La dernière fois, on vous avait passé une conférence call avec les Wolves, les champions par équipe de la TNA. Sébastien de notre équipe de Wrestle Radio était là. Donc cette fois, la conférence call est avec Eric Young, le champion du monde poids lourd de la TNA, qui parle donc devant la presse du monde entier du pay-per-view Slammiversary qui aura lieu donc ce dimanche. Il défendra son titre contre MVP. Donc vous pouvez suivre cette conférence call en quelques instants pour vous guider. La traduction en français que vous avez donc sur Facebook à la suite de cette vidéo. Voilà. Bonne écoute.
Hello and welcome to the Slammiversary pay-per-view conference call. I will begin with a brief overview of the pay-per-view and then we will open up the lines for questions for our special guest, Eric Young. The matches for this pay-per-view include the World Heavyweight Champion, Eric Young, versus MVP, the Grudge match EC3 versus Bully Ray, Bobby Lashley versus Samoa Joe, Willow versus Magnus, James Storm versus Mr. Anderson, Austin Aries versus Kenny King, and the Von Erich family will appear. TNA Wrestling presents Slammiversary June 15th. As we open the line for questions in a moment, each of you will have the opportunity to ask one question of Eric Young to begin. If time remains after a first round of questions, we will open the line back up for a second round. Operator, we are now ready to open the line.
Your first question comes from the line of Mike Johnson with PW Insider.
Hey, Eric, how are you, man?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
Good to speak to you again. Slammiversary, obviously it's Slammiversary 12, but for you personally, it's about 10 and a half years since you first made your debut appearance in the TNA ring. When you look back on those 10 and a half years, we've seen a lot of rises and falls for you, a lot of different runs for you and different personalities and different permutations of Eric Young, the performer. What does it mean to you to be in the main event of the 12th year anniversary of the show, considering the roller coaster that you've had personally and professionally with the company over the years?
Yeah, it's a combination of the whole thing. It's this is where, as a professional wrestler, you want to be. It's the biggest event of the year. I'll be in the main event, wrestling for my World Heavyweight Championship. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than that. It's the biggest match of my life. I'm treating it as such. I'm 100% ready for this match, and people will not leave disappointed. That's a guarantee.
All right. Well, I'll jump back in the queue. Thank you, sir, as always.
Thanks, man.
Your next question comes from the line of Scott Fishman with the Miami Herald.
How are you doing again? Good talking to you.
You too, Scott.
How has life changed for you as far as being the TNA Heavyweight Championship? I mean, as far as from a mental standpoint and, having the company on your shoulders and representing them, doing these different appearances that you've been making?
It's something that I've wanted. This is something that I've always knew that I could be. It was a level that I had always dreamed about attaining. I knew that I could. Was it in the cards? You're never sure on that. Wrestling it's a crazy business, man. It's a crazy world. But I'm ready for the responsibility. I want the responsibility. I've always wanted the responsibility. And to be honest, I mean, I'm definitely being worked and pulled in 10,000 directions in between being World Heavyweight Champion for Impact Wrestling, TNA Wrestling, and shooting my own television show for Animal Planet. But I mean, right now it's the best professional time of my entire life, and I'm soaking it all in, man. It's amazing.
All right, well, it's fun to see. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Ethan Nash with Eon's Wrestling News.
G'day, Eric. Great to speak with you today. Congratulations on finally winning the World Heavyweight Championship. I've been watching you for a number of years, and it's great to finally see you in the championship picture.
I appreciate it, man.
Before winning the championship, even until a few months ago recently, you were playing backstage role, somewhat of a comedic role with your character. Did you ever reach a point during this time where you thought TNA weren't utilizing your talent appropriately, or did you ever become complacent with the company or the creative direction you were taking?
Yeah, for me, other than winning the world title, the biggest day of my professional wrestling career, how I look at it, was the day I signed my first contract to say that this is what I do for a living. And it sounds cliche and kind of simple, but I mean, I'm just proud to be part of it. You know, pro wrestling is a very difficult thing to be in. Another huge accomplishment for me is I've been on TV every week for over 10 years. That's insane for anybody. You know, versatility and being able to play a different character and fill a different role, you know, year to year, is something that I pride myself on. I always have. You know, if they want me to make people laugh, I can do that. They want people to make me, make people not like me, I can do that. They want me to be world heavyweight champion, I can do that. They want me to be tag team champion, I can do that. And I feel there's definitely guys in the business that have that attribute too. But it's not a huge number. Usually, you know, they find their role and they find their niche, and that's what they do for 10, 15, 20 years. I've done it all, and I wouldn't change that. You know, I'm an experiential kind of guy, and the more I can experience in wrestling, the better, man. I've seen it all and done it all, and I wouldn't change any of it.
Fantastic. One last quick question, if I may. On a lighter note, does Eric Young have any tips or advice for aspiring beard growers around the world?
The number one ingredient is just be a man. You know, that's you don't ever know if you can grow one until you start. So, you know, if it's something you want to do, then let it rip. You know, see what happens. Some people can't grow them, some people can. You know, there's no secret to it other than just let it happen.
No, there's no combing or trimming or dye or anything that you use, or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a life skill being able to grow facial hair. I guess I don't know, man. I just let it happen.
Okay. Well, thanks again. Congratulations on your championship once again, and thanks for taking the time to speak with me tonight. It was great stuff. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Your next question comes from the line of James Marston with Across the Pond Wrestling.
Hi, Eric. Nice to speak to you today. How's it going?
You too, man. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Our question is, throughout your time in TNA, as it's been mentioned earlier on, you've seen many different sides of Eric Young, member of Team Canada, Super Eric, leader of the World Elite, Knockouts Tag Team Champion, and of course the role you're currently playing. I was just wondering if you had a particular favourite or something that you particularly enjoyed throughout your time in TNA.
I mean, they're all kind of, my baby. It's like, with people with, different, that have more than one kid, it's hard to pick a favorite. If I was to pick one, obviously it would be the role I'm in now. This is what I've dreamt about since I was 5. I know that's cliche, but that's the truth. This is all I've wanted to do and all I've wanted to be since I was 5 years old. And I'm doing it right now. I'm defending the belt every week on television, representing the company and pouring myself into everything that they give me and giving 100%. And, I can't do anything more than that, and I can't ask for anything more than the opportunity to do it. So, my favorite would be the one I'm in now. But, I mean, they're all very special to me, and I wouldn't change any of it. The comedic roles to the World Elite, to, Knockouts champ, to all of it, Team Canada. These are all, important parts of my wrestling career. And it's cool for me that I can be that versatile and I can experience all these different views of the wrestling world. I'm perceived in 100 different ways. And, the versatility, I think, is important for me. It makes me relevant, and I hopefully will keep me relevant for a long time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Your next question comes from the line of Blake O'Farrell with WrestleHustle.com.
Hi, Eric. How you going?
Good, man. How about yourself?
Oh, great. Thank you. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. My question is, you call yourself a fighting champion, and so far you've been successful in defending your belt very regularly on Impact. And I just wanted to know, what was the inspiration and what motivates you to defend the belt on a weekly basis?
For me, being a pro wrestling fan, I remember wrestling not as in moves or not as in matches, but as in moments. I remember certain moments very clearly of, who I was with and, what it made me feel and, if it made me excited or mad or, different moments in pro wrestling history, as being a fan of it. And I want to be able to create as many of those moments as I can. That's what drew me to wrestling. That's what I want to give back. It's like the circle of life kind of thing. I'm still a pro wrestling fan, and I think about me being a pro wrestling fan, what I liked and what I remembered and what I wanted out of pro wrestling, and being world heavyweight champion and defending the belt every chance I get. Yeah, sure, I could lose it, or sure, and then any night someone could ask me. That's pro wrestling. It changes constantly, but I'm I'm going to defend it every chance I get against as many people as I can and create as many of those moments as I can, because that's what pro wrestling is for me, and that's what I want to give back. You know, it's important for me for people to remember this as a good time in wrestling. You know, my title reign is a good title reign, as somebody that defended the belt and made it entertaining and made it fun and made it good to watch. And you can't do that unless you're in front of the people. So it's super important to me, being a fighting champion and defending it every single week.
Definitely. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Tom Anstey with Damn Good Wrestling.
Hey, Eric. How's it going?
Good, Tom.
Excellent. So I'm going to take, obviously, a really serious question here. The question on everyone's lips is, how long do you think you are going to still be bearded? Is it something that is something that's stuck on your face forever, or will we see a clean-shaven Eric Young? I mean, personally, if you ever did, heaven forbid you lost the beard, by the way, but if you ever did lose it, I would like to see you lose it, some sort of stipulation match.
As of now, I mean, I'm going to have the beard as long as I can. I like the beard. I see old pictures of me, and I don't, often recognize myself. Plus, I would likely lose both my jobs if I shaved it. Just felt like shaving it one day. I don't like shaving every day, and that's what I have to do when I don't have the beard. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, man. Makes you look tough, makes you look cool. Beards are very relevant now. I jumped into the beard game pretty early on, end of 2009, when beards were still weird and people would get out of my way at the grocery store and stuff. But yeah, it's I think it fits. I like it. People seem to like it. It's a good talking point. Makes you stand out, makes you, look interesting even if you're not. I don't know if I am or not, but at least it makes me look interesting. And I like having one, man. I'll have one as long as I can.
All right, excellent. And just quickly, I mentioned the beard, so I should probably ask about the title as well. How long are you intending to remain world champion for?
I'm intending on being world champion forever and dying with the belt in my casket. That's my idea of a perfect life. Whether that happens or not, I mean that's I don't know if that's in the cards, but I want to set a record for being the longest champion. Bobby Roode holds that distinction now in TNA wrestling, and I'd like to beat that. I'd like to hold it as long as I can. I'm having the time of my life. I'm beat up. There's no doubt about that. I'm tired. I'm sore. It's a lot of responsibility holding the belt and pushing yourself. The main event and the last match, the heavyweight title match, that's supposed to be the best match on the card every night, and I strive for that. Whether I obtain it or not, that's up to the people. But I can assure you that I'm giving 100% of myself every time I'm in the ring, and then it'll always be that way. Hurt, sick, tired, no sleep. It doesn't matter. They will get 100% of everything I have.
All right, well, that works for me. I'm a massive EY mark, so long may it continue. Thanks for taking my questions.
Appreciate it.
Your next question comes from the line of David Dunn with NZPWI.
Hey there, Eric. How are you going? Thanks for talking to us today.
Thank you.
Impact Wrestling recently put out an article on their website of TNA's most surprising World Heavyweight Championship victories, which seems to be inspired by your win over Magnus that first time. Mm-hmm. I was just wondering whether you would agree that you finally getting a chance to hold the title is a surprising thing after spending sort of, the length of the company's lifespan there, or whether this is something you always thought was going to be part of your story eventually.
I guess it was a surprise, from where I was to where I ended up that night beating Magnus. It's a surprise to the wrestling world, and that's not easy to do nowadays. That's for sure. With the internet and just information everywhere, it's hard to do. And I think they did that, and they created a real moment. And I was part of that moment. And for me, it comes as no surprise to me. I'm not a cocky person. I'm not good at anything except for pro wrestling. But pro wrestling I can do. I knew that I was good at it the instant I stepped in a ring. I knew that's where I was meant to be. I knew that's what I was supposed to be doing. And it comes as no surprise to me to be world heavyweight champion. If you would have told me a couple of years ago that would be a thing, I would say, well, we'll see what happens. But wrestling's crazy, man, and it changes every day. I'm just happy to be part of it, and I'm proud, 100% proud to be world heavyweight champion.
Thanks very much, Eric. Good luck for Slammiversary, mate.
Thanks, man.
Your next question comes from the line of David Gilbert with Talk TNA Podcast.
Hi, Eric. How's it going, man?
Good, man. How about yourself?
Yeah, doing good, thanks. TNA obviously going to be doing some big shows in New York City in June and then going back again in August. How much are you personally looking forward to these shows? And do you think they're going to be something like really special that the fans and the TV audience can look forward to?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you wrestle in New York, I remember the first time I can remember wrestling in the Manhattan Center. It's electric. You know, people are like stacked on top of you. It's an old building, but it's like a special building. There's like an energy about it, you know. And anytime we can get out and get on the road and get in front of a new core of people, you know, and it gives people to come from other places to go to New York because they're going to be part of something special. So that's cool. You know, it's a huge area to draw fans from. It's a fun city to spend a few days in, and the shows are going to be special, man. Like, I mean, every time we go there, they're special. Every show it has its own unique thing, but wrestling in that venue in front of those people, it's going to be something to see, man, and I'm looking forward to it big time.
It should be good. Let me just get one more question in here. I've got to ask you, when did you start doing, I should know this, but when did you start doing the Ric Flair flip in the corner, and what does Rick think of it?
I started doing it, I think I learned how to do it the third day of wrestling school. I always wanted to do it. It took me a bit. There's a bit of a trick to it, but it's something I always wanted to do. And when he came in, he was, you know, still kind of wrestling here and there, but mostly managing. And, you know, out of respect, I went to him, and Rick was always good to me. Always a nice guy, always super professional with me, and was always supportive of me. And I think he liked what I offered for wrestling. But I, you know, made sure I went to him and asked him if it was okay if I was still doing it. He said, yeah, I can't do it anymore, so someone might as well. So kind of got his blessing, kind of like a passing of the torch thing. So that was super cool for me, you know, being a guy that I idolized and looked up to my entire life. You know, kind of passed that torch and said, you do it good, so someone might as well be doing it. So yeah, it's been part of my repertoire since 1998.
That's awesome. You do it justice, Eric. Good luck on Sunday, man. Speak to you in a bit.
Appreciate it, man.
Your next question comes from Jorge Rebello with Wrestling PT.
Eric, I'm going to ask you a bit of a tough question. And recently, Frankie Kazarian just gave an interview which he stated that TNA wrestlers were kind of embarrassed by the difficulties that TNA is going through. And for me, as a TNA fan, it seems that there's a lot of negativity going towards TNA right now. And I was wondering what are your thoughts about this issue?
I think in a creative, the creative world, whether it's wrestling or television or music, anything in the entertainment industry, you know, it comes with criticism, and it comes with, you know, like, you know, people are going to hold things to a certain standard. I can remember there always being negative, you know, information and negative opinions about TNA from way back since 2003. You know, seen in over 120 countries around the world. Gets very strong television numbers. They house shows every weekend. It's a multi-million-dollar company that reaches worldwide. And negative, you know, we could be doing insane TV ratings, and we could be seen in 2,000 countries around the world. I don't even know if there's that many, but there would still be negative information. I think it's part of pro wrestling. It always will be. It's part of entertainment, and I'm learning that through, you know, my other television show on Animal Planet. You know, certain things aren't for everyone, you know, and negative stuff, it's always easier to say negative things and report on negative things. If you watch the news, I mean, you know, not very often you see something good on the news. That doesn't mean that there's not good things happening. And, you know, TNA Wrestling's still here. It's going to be here. It's not going anywhere. It's as strong as it's ever been. And, you know, there's always going to be negative information out there. That's just part of the game.
All right. Thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Steve Robertson with Rock and Wrestle.
Hi, Eric. How are you?
Good, man. How about yourself?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good.
I was going to ask, with you being a fighting champion, and obviously you've done other aspects of the media, such as the Animal Planet show off the hook, Extreme Catches, is that something at the moment where you've been the champion, having the weight of the company on your shoulders, that you're going to push to the side at the moment? Or
no,
are you going to try and embrace everything as it comes to you?
Yeah, I'm doing it all. I'm actually, when I won the belt, I was, you know, smack dab in the middle of shooting the new show, No Limits, which is airing on Animal Planet right now. It's in its second week. It's doing really well. Really good numbers on Animal Planet right now. I just got back from 12 days in Alaska. So, yeah, I'm doing it all at once, man. I don't require a lot of sleep, which is good. So, yeah, it's definitely not pushing it to the side. It's a huge part of my life right now, and it's airing, it's doing well, and I'm pumped for Slammiversary and pumped to be doing stuff like this, man. My life is it's wild right now. It's fun, though.
It's great. It's really inspirational. That's fine. I'll jump back in the queue, but thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Scott Fishman with the Miami Herald.
It was another milestone with TNA this year. Moving forward, it seems, TNA, like all companies, they want to grow their audience, and there's always that challenge of growing their audience and bringing up numbers and things like that. What are one or two things that you think TNA can do to, get to that next level?
I mean, I think we just have to, pick our direction, and decide where we're going and march. That's something I feel they've been doing over the last six to 8 months. They've kind of got a vision, and they have decided a direction, and that's where they're going to go. That's what pro wrestling is. You need to, formulate, a game plan. Things change. Wrestling constantly changes. Guys get hurt. Guys move on. Someone will become popular, out of nowhere kind of thing, and you got to adapt. That's part of pro wrestling. But you really got to pick the direction and head towards it. And, getting guys out there, having me do my other show, No Limits, on Animal Planet, airs on Friday nights, that brings in another set of eyes. That's people that like fishing and people like outdoors. They see me, and then, maybe they like me, and they're like, oh, he's a wrestler. They look up TNA Wrestling, and they're like, oh, I'm going to check that out. They tune in, and cross promotion and trying to get as many new eyes on the company as possible. That's those are the two keys, I think. And I'm happy to help. I had the belt on the Today Show and talked about TNA Wrestling. I think I'm doing Fox and Friends on the 23rd, and I'm gonna be sure to talk about the shows that we have coming up in the Manhattan Center in New York. And it's that's a responsibility as a champion, and a responsibility as an employee is to help with that kind of stuff. And that's something I've always been willing to do, and something that I'm really in a position to help with right now, which is exciting.
And do you think there was an issue before? I mean, as far as well-known personalities have come to TNA and then they weren't promoting the company as well as they had hoped. What was that like for you to see that?
Yeah, I'm not so sure if it's a problem or not, but I mean, for me, like, you want people that are team players. You want people that are there. I mean, everyone's there for themselves. Don't ever kid yourself. It's a business of me and I. That's the way pro wrestling is, and you're always got to look out for number one. It's something that I do. But I'm under no illusions. If TNA's not there, then I don't have a job in wrestling. And 90% of my friends don't have a job in wrestling. People I like, people I care about, people that have families. So you got to have people that are willing to pay the price and do the thing and be part of the team. And making TNA a bigger brand and stuff is good for everybody, especially people that work in the company, people that don't work in the company, just wrestling in general. So the quicker we can grow it, the harder we can grow it, and the more people we can have on board to wanting to grow it, the better.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of James Marston with Across the Pond Wrestling.
Hi again, Eric. My question is, Slammiversary is coming up on Sunday or Wednesday here in the UK, and usually at some of us Slammiversary over the last 2 years, we've seen the new TNA Hall of Famer announced. I was just wondering, in your opinion, who would you like to see go into the TNA Hall of Fame? Maybe not one name, maybe a couple of names. Who do you think deserves to go in?
I mean, there's a huge list of guys. Someone that come, like there's all kinds of guys that come to mind that, out of personal choice. Guys that were here like early on, AJ Styles, David Young, Shark Boy, like guys that helped build the company. I mean, that would be cool, I think, for wrestling fans, especially diehard TNA fans, to dig back in the past and find some of the guys that helped kind of pave the way and helped to build the company. That would be cool for me to see. Plus, I like those guys, and that would give me a chance to hang around with them. So it's probably a biased decision, but that would be cool, I think, for me.
That's great. Thanks for speaking again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Mike Johnson with PWInsider.com.
Hello again, sir.
Hey, Mike.
You mentioned some of the early days of TNA and some of the early personalities, which of course brings up Jeff Jarrett. Obviously, relations with he and the company are not at the best right now. Do you ever think we'll see a day where Jarrett goes in the TNA Hall of Fame?
I mean, you can never say never, man. Did you ever think you'd see Eric Bischoff appear on Monday Night Raw? That happened. There's just no such thing as never in pro wrestling. I hope so, man. I'm still friends with Jeff. I will always be friends with Jeff. I'll be indebted to him. He gave me my first job. He was a guy that supported me. I'm still friendly with Jeff, and I wish him all the best. More wrestling is better for wrestling, and I'd like to see him go into the Hall of Fame. There's a pretty good likelihood that me and you aren't talking on the phone right now if it's not for Jeff Jarrett, and that's just the simple truth of it.
All right. The question I wanted to ask, and I'm sorry to ask the second question, just wanted to follow up on the last.
Sure.
We haven't really had a chance to talk about the match with MVP yet. So, you had a chance to get in the ring with him, which we'll see on Impact. What are your expectations for the match, and what are your thoughts on his run thus far as part of the TNA roster?
I mean, he's obviously a talented guy. He's well known in the wrestling world. He's wrestled all over the world. He brings a certain air, a certain experience, and that's good for us. I feel that we have good chemistry. I feel that the pay-per-view at Slammiversary, I'm known for myself personally, I'm 100% ready. I'm as ready as I've ever been for a wrestling match, and I plan on making it the best match of the night. That's my goal. That's the goal going into it, and that's what I can guarantee. I will make it as best I can. Everything I have will be left in that ring in Dallas, and Slammiversary, this Slammiversary number 12, it will be remembered for that match. I guarantee that. Well,
I don't know if I'm going to get back on here. I want to wish you nothing but the best personally and professionally. You've always worked your ass off, and it is nice to see nice guy end up first for once in pro wrestling. So want to commend you on that, and wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you, man.
Your next question comes from the line of Tom Anstey with Damn Good Wrestling.
Hello again.
Hello.
Hi. So the question I've got now is, we've mentioned this already, you've had a few different characters over the years, or different styles, but what's been really going through most of that time has been, you've had this comedy element to your character, and since you've won the world title, naturally you've become a lot more serious. But what I want to know is, will we kind of see that comedy character in Eric Young as the world champion at all? I mean, or is he gone for now? Will he be back?
Yeah, I think that's always going to be a part of who I am. There's been a few times where I guess people have pointed out that I've said a couple funny things here and there. MVP pulls up in a limo, and I said, I didn't get one of those. Things like that. I don't think about that stuff. That's stuff that just happens. I guess I'm naturally drawn to being funny. I like making people laugh. I always have. I was a class clown in school, and always kind of been a guy that fell back on humor and liked humor and liked comedy and liked making people laugh, and it's part of who I am. Being insane and funny all the time, that's not who I am right now on the show. I've proven that I can do that. That's part of pro wrestling. Being comedy is part of entertainment, and make no mistakes, Impact is a television show, and it's about entertaining people, whether that's through physicality, whether it's through comedy, whether it's through emotion, whether it's through verbiage. All those elements are part of pro wrestling. Comedy's always been a part of pro wrestling. It's a big part of pro wrestling. Steve Austin's been funny. The Rock is funny. Kurt Angle's funny. Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Sting, Ric Flair. All these guys are funny in their own way, and comedy is part of pro wrestling. So yeah, it's part of who I am, and that won't ever go anywhere. I'm not cracking jokes on every show, but it's part of who I am, and it's not going anywhere. That's for sure.
Okay, and just one more quick question. If you were to defend your title against any wrestler anywhere in the world, any company, anyone, who would that person be that you would want to defend your title against?
If I could defend it, if I was forced to choose anybody in the world tomorrow, defend it tomorrow, it'd be it would be Bobby Roode. You know, that's a guy that I enjoy wrestling the most in the world. I'd like to test myself against a lot of people, but if I was back in the corner and said, you know, you have to defend the belt tomorrow, you get to pick anybody in the world, I'm wrestling Bobby Roode. I think he's the best pro wrestler in the world, and I mean it delivers a very distinct challenge. He's a guy that I've been close to for years, you know, and our careers have taken us, you know, this way and that, but we always seem to cross paths, and I'm hoping that happens again real soon.
All right, well, I'm going to jump off now, but good luck on Sunday, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Steve Robertson with Rock and Wrestle.
Hello again, Eric.
Hey.
Hey, I'm just wondering, are you able to comment on some of the rumors going around at the moment that MVP has a knee injury and is struggling with the weight on his knee? Do you know the situation of him just now?
I don't. I have heard that. I don't know if that's something that he's saying or if that is a reality. The truth is I'm prepared for Slammiversary. I'm prepared to wrestle him, and if it's not him, then I'll prepare for that person. I'm hoping it's him. You know, I'm hoping Slammiversary is exactly what it's supposed to be. And if it's not, whatever the opponent is, whatever the challenge, I'll rise to it. You know, I like a challenge. I've always liked a challenge. When I feel nervous or when I feel pushed back or challenged in any way, that's when I feel like I'm at my best, and that's how I feel right now. And it's gonna Slammiversary. It's gonna be something, man. It's gonna be an event. That's for sure.
And just quickly touching on the previous question about in regards to you answered you'd like to wrestle Bobby Roode. Do you see that as something that might happen once you're successful in defending against MVP?
Yeah, I mean, Bobby Roode is always in the title mix. He holds the record for longest reigning world champion. You know, and like I said, I think he's the best pro wrestler in the world, in and out of the ring. And I got my fingers crossed. He's one of my favorite people to punch in the mouth. That's for sure.
That's great, Eric. Thank you again for your time.
Thanks, man.
Okay, cheers then. Cheers, bye.
Your next question comes from the line of Blake O'Farrell with WrestleHustle.com.
Hi again.
Hey.
Hey, just quickly, you've developed quite a rapport with fans on social media forums such as Twitter, and recently you did an AMA on Reddit, on the Squared Circle subreddit. Why is it important for you to keep in touch with fans?
I mean, I'm not sitting here if there's not wrestling fans. You know what I mean? Like, it's always surprising to me is the access that wrestling fans can get now. Like, I mean, I've been a wrestling fan since I was 5. If I could have been in like an old school ICQ chat with, you know, like Sting and asking him questions, like I probably would have wet myself. You know, that kind of access didn't exist 10 or 15 years ago. And, you know, social media and the internet and how wrestling is set up, it's interactive now, and that's it's cool. It's cool for us, and it's 10 times as cool for the fans. You know, this I mean, you can come to a TNA house show and meet, you know, 3/4 of the guys and take pictures with them and shake their hands and talk to them about their match. And, you know, that kind of access is unprecedented. And TNA offers that everywhere we go. I know, like, if I was a wrestling fan, that's where I would be. That's the shows I'd want to go to, because that kind of access isn't available anywhere else.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Scott Fishman with the Miami Herald.
Question is just basically you call yourself such a, you know, you're a big wrestling fan. Looking back at history, is there any champions in the past that you that inspire you, or now that you're a champion that you pattern yourself after?
I mean, Ric Flair was a huge influence on me. Terry Funk was a huge influence on me. Sting, Shawn Michaels, Steve Austin, The Rock, Macho Man Randy Savage. Those are the big ones that really stick out. Like, those are the guys that, like, anytime there was a show, if they were on, that was the match I looked forward to the most. Any combination of those guys. And there's no real order, you know. Like, I grew up. I mean, Shawn Michaels is, I think, the best in-ring performer ever. I don't think anyone will touch him ever. You know, I don't think it's possible to be a better pro wrestler than he was in the ring. And he's actually a fan of mine in a roundabout way, and was a huge fan of my off-the-hook fishing show. So it's a weird world, man, being a guy that idolizes him and having conversations with him and stuff. It's cool. But yeah, that's the list of guys, man, for me. Those are the main guys.
Awesome, and hopefully one day someone will mention you down the line.
Yeah, I hope so, man.
Your next question comes from the line of Ethan Nash with Eon's Wrestling News.
Back again, Eric. You seem like you're in a very professionally good place in your life right now, very self-driven, motivated place. With that being said, what can we expect from Eric Young for the remainder of 2014 and beyond?
Hard work. That's been my thing from day one in wrestling. Whether I was wrestling in front of 5 people or 50,000 people, I want my match to be the best that I can make it. Sometimes you're not dealt the right cards. The time is short, or you're not in with the right guy, or they only want so much action, or they want this, they want that. But just hard work, man. I'm in a great professional place. I'm in a great place in life, period. And I have both my dream jobs, and I mean, there's very few people that can say they have one of their dream jobs, and I have both of them right now. I'm a host on a television show that airs all over the world, and I'm world heavyweight champion on the one of the biggest wrestling companies in the world that's seen in 120 countries. It's amazing to think about it. Sitting here in my office in my chair, just the place that I'm at that I didn't know I would ever attain. I dreamt about it, but I'm there right now. And now it's the next door. So that door opens, I walk through it. Now there's 1,000 more doors in front of me, and I'm going to walk through all of them if I got my choice.
Fantastic stuff. Hopefully you continue this streak of positivity in your life, and I wish you all the best at Slammiversary, and thank you again for speaking with me.
Thanks a lot, man.
Your next question comes from the line of Blake O'Farrell with WrestleHustle.com.
Hi again. Recently, you've had a successful career as a colourful and entertaining kind of a comedic wrestler in the past. Recently, you've taken on a more serious and determined persona. What was the catalyst for this reinvention?
The catalyst is pro wrestling changes, constantly. I remember hearing a quote from Terry Funk, and it's always kind of stuck with me. He said, Terry Funk is always going to be Terry Funk, but pro wrestling changes every day. So if Terry Funk wants to stay in pro wrestling, he has to change. And that's something that I've always been able to do. I believe it's a skill. It's a huge skill. I wouldn't change anything I've been, being kind of the comedic, kind of crazy character on pro wrestling led me to my other dream job of hosting a show on Animal Planet, Off the Hook, and now the new show, No Limits. So I wouldn't change that. I wouldn't have changed it then. I loved it. I loved doing it. But being world heavyweight champion, that requires something else. And I think I've proved that I can give that. That's part of who I am as well. I said it in an interview with MVP. I looked him in the eye and I told him to not kid himself. Standing in front of him is a world-class professional wrestler, and I believe that to my core. I can go in the ring with anybody. I've always known that. I've always thought that, and that won't change. And when it does change, I'll retire. But right now, I can go with anybody.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Also, can I just ask,
sure.
I might not get another. You've had who are you excited to see? You've had a long career in TNA, about 10 years now. Who are you excited to see make a name for themselves further down the line in the future?
There's a lot of young guys. The guy that really sticks out in my head right now, Ethan Carter. He's got every tool. He can talk. He's an athlete. He looks like a pro athlete. He understands wrestling. He's a smart guy. He's a talented guy. He's a hard worker. That's a guy that's going to make a mark. He's already made a mark, and that mark will continue to grow. But there's a lot of guys. Graham is a guy that is interesting to me. The Menagerie is a cool new group that's got a lot to offer. It's a cool time to be on top, man, and a cool time to be at TNA Wrestling. It's constantly changing, and it's changing for the better.
Definitely very excited to see it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
Your last question comes from the line of Tom Anstey with Damn Good Wrestling.
Hi, Eric. This one is more of a request than a question, really. What I would like to request is at some point in the not too distant future, can you please have a match with Rockstar Spud? Because my friend and I have been saying since the day he turned up in TNA that we want to see Spud versus Eric Young.
Yeah, I'd like that. I mean, it's almost a guaranteed win because he's a pretty little dude. But yeah, he's an entertaining guy, man. Funny guy, and passionate about wrestling, man. He loves wrestling, like to the point where it's almost frightening. You know, like I love wrestling, but he's scary. He's got a scary love for pro wrestling.
Excellent. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you to the wrestling writers from America, Britain, France, Portugal, New Zealand, and Australia for the questions and participation on the call today. A reminder, Slammiversary premieres live this Sunday, June 15th. Have a good day.
Donc ainsi se termine cette conférence call de la TNA. On espère que vous avez apprécié. Puis rendez-vous pour des prochaines conférences call. Maintenant, c'est environ une fois par mois. Donc n'hésitez pas à réagir surtout sur tous les supports. Et on vous dit à la prochaine. À ciao.